Well, welcome to you. And I wonder if I have an old or a new story in the box. Do you think it's a new story? New old? Any other thoughts? Anyone?
Both so they're right either way.
New to us and old to them. Well, it is an old story, but it's a new one because I haven't told this one before. So let's see what this story is about. And it begins in the desert. It begins in the land where Jesus lived and taught people about God. And this is a land that we've seen many times. And this time, almost every time. And this time, it is at the time when Jesus was living and living in this place. And this story happened in a little town called Bethsaida. No, not Bethlehem, Bethsaida. It was just a little place. And it took place in the home of a guy named Philip. Philip. No, not from the Philippines. He was from Bethsaida. And so when this story, so Philip was in his home in Bethsaida, and no, it's not. It's actually from the book of Luke. No, he didn't. And so Philip was at home, and he had just finished his lunch, and he was about to eat a delicious piece of sweet bread for dessert. And just as he was about to do that, his friend Andrew came in to the house and saw the sweet bread, and he started to reach for it. And Philip said, "No, I'm saving it for later." And Andrew said, But I'm starving. Come on. And as this was happening, Jesus, who was a friend of them as well, came into the room, but they didn't see him. And he was standing kind of at the door. Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? There we go. And he was watching them as they argued. And they were going back and forth. Andrew was wanting that dessert, and Philip was saying, "No, you can't have it." And it was back and forth. "No, yes, I want it. No, you can't have it. It's mine." And went on and on. And finally, Jesus went, and both of them turned, and they saw Jesus, and they went completely red. Their faces went red. They were so embarrassed, because here they were arguing, and they put their heads down. And Philip said, "I was just finishing lunch." And Andrew said, "Yes, and I was wanting some of his sweetbread. I didn't have much lunch and my stomach is growling. He won't share with me." And then Philip said, "Why should I? Just yesterday I asked you for some of your lunch because I didn't have any and you didn't give me a single bite. Why should I share with you?" Andrew opened his mouth to say something back. And Jesus came over and held up his hand. And he turned to Andrew and he said, "Andrew, is that true about yesterday?" Andrew lowered his head again and nodded, "Yeah." And there was a long silence. Nobody was saying anything. And then finally Jesus said, "Let me tell you a story." Andrew and Philip. And so this story was about a very rich man He was dressed all in purple, which was the most expensive clothing that you could buy. He was very rich. And he had lots of things to eat. All kinds of really great things to eat.
Yummy. Oh, yeah.
Even yummy desserts. But outside his gate, there was another man, a very poor man, and he was really sick. He had sores all over his legs and all over his arms. And he was very sick, and he was starving. And the rich man never noticed this other man outside his gate, never offered him any of his food, never offered to help in any way. But then, one day, the rich man lost everything. He lost his house, he lost his job, he lost his expensive clothes, he had no food to eat. And the poor man got well. His sores healed up, and he was able to work again, and he got better. And Jesus said to Philip and Andrew, "Do you think the rich man wished that he had treated the poor man differently?" Do you think he had? And then Jesus said, "Do you think that poor man might help the rich man who now has nothing?" Philip and Andrew were really quiet. And Jesus said, "Remember what I've told you. Treat others the way you want to be treated." Jesus smiled. He picked up the sweet bread. He tore a piece off, and he left. He wanted some for himself. I wonder how Jesus felt when he saw his friends arguing.
Bad.
Think he felt bad? Sad? Yeah. I wonder why the rich man in the story didn't help the poor man. Maybe he didn't know he was outside.
Maybe he never went for picnics, and if he did, he ignored him because he didn't really get him.
Yeah, maybe he ignored him if he did see him. I wonder if the poor man helped the rich man after he lost everything. I wonder. And I wonder what Philip and Andrew did with the rest of the dessert. I think they shared it. Maybe they might have said sorry.
Maybe they said sorry and then took the ingredients and made a big cake and threw a party.
Maybe they made a big cake and shared it with the people in the story too, right?
And made a
Well,
big
that's
party.
our story. And we're,
I know
yes.
why does he still have chicken pox?
Oh, well, you have to imagine that look at them this way. See, they're all healed.
Now let's bring him to the table.
So we're going to sing a song now, and you're going to have a chance to go up to Children's Church to follow the candle out. And we're going to sing Seek Ye First, which is number 356 in